Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered a village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return to give praise to God, except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Get up and go on your way. Your faith has made you well." This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Please be seated. Grace and peace to you on this day. From God, our Father, and our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. So I have a question for you today. It's kind of a simple question, but it's a little deeper too. And I'm not going to call on you, so don't worry. Although I thought about that. But here it is. Here's the question. Why are you here? I don't mean in some existential, philosophical way, why are any of us here? I mean, why are you here today? Why did you come to St. Paul this morning? Thought about anticipating some of the answers. Maybe you'll find yourself in one of them, and if you don't, please let me know. Talk to me later. So I think for many of us, we're here this morning because it's Sunday, and this is what we do. We get up and we go to church on Sunday morning. See some head nods, yeah. Awesome. What a wonderful faith practice. Thank you for doing that, and welcome. I think another way you can answer this question, if we're going to be brutally honest, is someone dragged us here. A family member, probably. We'd much rather, on a cold, rainy, wet morning, have slept in. Or perhaps we're still really interested in 24-hour coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Or perhaps we're still drawn in, somehow, some way, to what all the pundits might have to tell us this morning. Or maybe you're really interested in pregame for all the games that are going to happen later this afternoon, and you'd rather be there. But here you are. Well, thanks for being here. And welcome. Maybe you're here because somebody invited you. I know a few people are here because they were invited, so thanks for showing up. Thanks for saying yes. And welcome. Thanks for joining us online. Hello. Maybe you are here today because I invited you to come. You got your letter in the mail, and you said to yourself, "Aha, self, I need to be there today, October 9th. I'm going to hand in my pledge card and think about what I'm going to do for 2017, or what ministries I might join, or how I might pray more for my church. I'm going to come Sunday, even in the rain." If that's you this morning, thank you, and welcome. Maybe you're here this morning because you're simply scheduled to be. You're on staff. Or you were the ushers. Or you read the lessons. Or you're going to be a communion assistant. And you followed through on that. So again, thank you very much for that ministry, and welcome. Maybe you're here this morning because you're genuinely hurting. There's something going on in your life or in the life of those you care about, and it's just, it's weighing you down, and it's on your mind, and you can't think about anything else. And if that's the reason you came this morning, thank you, and welcome. Maybe you're not sure why you're here, which is also okay. Somehow you had some inner stirring. Or maybe it was the Spirit's guidance, or I don't know what language you might have for that. But for whatever reason, you got up this morning and felt compelled to get out of bed and get dressed and come to church. If that's you, thank you. And welcome. Harold Kushner, the rabbi who wrote When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Anybody read that book? He's got a whole handful of books. One of them is Who Needs God? And he has this great little image that once I read it, probably about, 15, 20 years ago, I always think about it. It's constantly just one of those things that's implanted in my brain. He's talking to people about why they go to worship. And just to pick on a couple people, let's say Marie came to worship this morning, and we would ask her, why did you come to church? And she would say, well, I came to talk to God. And then if I would ask Joe, why did you come to church this morning? He might answer, well, I came to talk to Marie. Both of those things are true. We come somehow, for some reason, to encounter the divine in some mysterious way. But we also know that faith is a team sport. We do it together somehow. That somehow being together matters, and we long for that too. We come to see God, and we come to see each other. But do we really think about why? Why do we do that? Simon Sinek wrote a book a few years back called Start With Why. I think after I read that book, it really changed my thinking on a lot of things. If you don't want to read the book, which I suggest you do, it's pretty good. But if you want to spend less time, you can watch a little TED Talk that he did on it also. It's Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. And type in the golden circle, it'll come right up. He says, we're very good at what. We talk about what all the time. And if we're a little bit deeper, maybe we'll even talk about how. But rarely do we talk about why. So if we were to talk about St. Paul, we'd usually say, well, we have worship at 8:30 and 10:45. That's a what. What's it like? Well, it's kind of casual, kind of formal, kind of liturgical, peppy. People are jovial. Those are whats. We have learning time at 9:30. We have outreach programs in the community. We're part of a bigger church. We try to do things to bring people together. And we host a number of things in our building that are from the community. Those are all whats. But they're not why. Or we'll talk about how. We have a confirmation program. How does that work? So, well, we meet on Sunday mornings between services, most of the time over in the Farview House right now. Sometimes, like this morning, we'll meet in the youth room. We like to link people up with an adult mentor so they have someone to help share the faith with them on a one-on-one basis, as well as in a group peer setting. We do service projects. We go up to Camp Calumet. This is how we do confirmation. But we don't answer the question, why? Why do we have confirmation? That's a good question to ask, actually. I have a colleague, her name's Joelle Colvett Hansen. She's the director of Evangelical Mission in Northeast Iowa Synod. She has this great faith practice that she's done for a couple of years now. Is on Facebook in the morning on Sundays. She posts, I think she just posts in general, but she posts in a number of groups I'm in too. She says, go get them, preachers, show them Jesus. Yeah. Why? Isn't that a great why? Why do we gather? Why do we want to see God, and why do we want to see each other? We want to see Jesus, right? That's why we gather together for word and sacrament and service. To see Jesus. Because when there's Jesus, there's mercy. This story, I think, primarily is about that. We like to focus on the outcome of it. The one who came back. That's what he did. He came back. He wanted to show how he was thankful. And so he laid at Jesus' feet. It says he prostrated himself. I don't like that so much. What is that? But another great translation is he laid himself out. I think that's a little bit more compelling. He was grateful. He was thankful. Why? Because he encountered Jesus. And when he encountered Jesus, he saw mercy. So Jesus is going to Jerusalem. And we know what happens there. That's the place where he'll go and suffer and die. For mercy. For you and for me and for this hurting world that's so often just in pain and divided. They call out to him. Notice how they call out to him. They call him by name, Jesus. Master. Not the prophet, not like Naaman calling out for Elijah because he was the local healer, but Master. They don't ask for healing. They don't ask for salvation. They don't ask for restoration. What do they ask for? Mercy. Show him Jesus. Show him mercy. He comes back, this one. Jesus asks, well, where are the other 9? I think that's usually our question too, right? What about all those other people? Should we really be worried about that so much? Maybe they got the mercy that Jesus gave them. They were restored. They were healed. They were saved. They did go back to their community. They did go show the priest that, look what happened to me. They were no longer ostracized from the community. They were no longer feared. But they encountered the divine, and they were brought back to the people they care about. But the story does end up about that one, doesn't it? The one who comes back. The one who saw mercy and was so moved by it, he couldn't help but turn around and come back the other way, out of gratitude, out of thanksgiving, laying himself out like that, out of humility. And I'd like to think also leading somehow in his life to compassion, because once you start to see this Jesus who brings mercy into our lives, you really start to see this hurting world for what it is, don't you? Here's the reason Luke tells us this story. It's because we are that one. Now, we have a lot of reasons for why we're here this morning. But we have seen Jesus. Where there's Jesus, there's mercy. Have you seen it? Now, I've seen a lot of Jesus this week. I'll just tell you a few places where I took notice. So I took notice actually last Sunday when Evan was being confirmed. And he stood up here, and his family stood up here with him. And his mentor stood up here with him. And his peers stood up here with him. And the whole congregation stood up here with him to affirm that, yes, Jesus is here and in Evan's life. And you know what? He came back. He's right there. Ushering today. How awesome. Isn't that fantastic? Saw Jesus on Tuesday morning when Dave Hines showed up and started power washing the Farview house because it needs to be painted. Not looking for any fanfare, not looking for any thank you, just diligently working and getting something accomplished with a big smile on his face because he's seen Jesus and he knows this community is full of the love of Jesus and can't wait for us to show it some more. Awesome. I've seen it in staff meetings, I've seen it in committee meetings where people are planning the work of the church, not just because there's work to be done and somebody's got to do it. But by golly, we've seen Jesus. We've encountered mercy. We know what's at stake, and boy, we can't wait to plan what we can do together, encountering the divine and encountering each other. I see it every Wednesday morning when a small cadre of people gather together for Bible study and for breakfast and for friendship. faith. I see it when that group of ladies gathers over on the other side of the parking lot together for Bible study on Thursdays too, where the group of people in our lay school of ministry are together, learning and discerning and trying to understand their faith and how to lead better. See it in all those places. So on Wednesday morning, I go once a month to lead worship over at Lakeview Health Center for about 6 to 10 people. And a gentleman who's there, he makes these crosses. One, he makes them just to have something to do. He likes it. But he gives them out to people. He's always handing them out to people. He brought me a big box of them. So give these to the people at your church. Great. So I brought a box of them here. And they went really fast. People brought them, so thanks for taking them. I saw him Wednesday, and he gave me another box. Here's some more. You want some more? Great. Then he took me in his room, and he's got this plaque on the side of his wall that says, God. Today I don't want to ask you for anything. I just want to say thanks for all I have. Isn't that wonderful? Seeing Jesus, seeing mercy. I saw it when Gene Golitz brought a thank you note in for me to hand to him the next time I see him, because she too was moved by that. I see it in all of us as we're learning and discerning and struggling to just figure out what it means to be faithful people in this crazy world of ours that is so divided and so full of pain. And yet, for whatever reason, we're drawn here to gather again, to encounter the divine, to encounter Jesus, to see mercy, and to know that that mercy is for you.